Hi everyone, Chris here from IELTS Advantage with another success story. Today we have Amin and he is going to tell you all about his IELTS journey and how he became successful so you guys can learn from him. Amin, can you start off just by introducing yourself to everyone?
Okay, my name is Amin. I'm from Syria. I currently live in Saudi Arabia. Last year I was living in Canada. I was studying there. And I was doing the IELTS in order to get a score of 8,777, the famous score, because I wanted to immigrate to Canada.
Excellent. And can you tell everybody a little bit about your IELTS journey? So like how many times did you do the test? What scores were you getting? And then later we'll talk about how you got the scores that you needed.
Okay, so I did the exam 5 times. The first time I did it paper-based. To be honest, I only did one writing correction with you that time. I thought that, okay, I know my mistakes now. I will get the 7 I need. At that time, I got 6 from you in the writing correction. But I thought that, okay, these are my mistakes. I know how to fix them. I will go to the exam when I'm ready. So I did the exam and I got 6.5 in writing and reading, and I got 7.5 in listening and speaking. Here I was still studying in Canada, so I just decided that since I have time until I graduate and something like that, I thought, okay, I will give myself time. I redid the exam after 7 months. I wasn't practicing a lot. I was only studying like 2 hours a week, to be honest, because I was still studying at that time, and I was also working in a part-time job. In this period of 7 months, I noticed that I was not finishing on time while I was practicing writing. I did not have time to review. Every time I was like having only 1 minute, 2 minutes at the end of task 1 and task 2. So by chance, just I was sitting and studying with I tried typing on my laptop, and I recorded time, and at the time it took me to type one sentence, and I wrote this. I did the same with writing with a pen, and I noticed that I'm faster in typing than writing in the pen. So I kept on trying. I wrote too many sentences, then paragraphs, and I noticed that the time it took me to write one sentence or a paragraph was like 70% of that time it took me with the pen. So I wrote full tasks, and this time I had 5 minutes for task 1 and 10 minutes and even more sometimes to review the task 2. So I definitely decided to go to the computer-based.
Yeah, that's really smart, because what a lot of people do is they will follow a teacher's advice or someone on the internet who says just do paper-based or just do computer-based. What you did was really smart because you based it on your strengths and weaknesses and by doing a test. So for people watching, don't watch this and automatically assume that you will be better at paper-based or computer-based. Do what Amin did, which was, test yourself. Are you better at handwriting or are you better at typing? Some people like me, I can actually use a pen much faster because my fingers are so fat that I make mistakes all the time when I'm typing. Whereas other people like you, who are much faster at typing as well, and also think about accuracy as well. Some people, like I make typos all the time because I'm not very good at typing. So speed is important, but accuracy is important as well. So pretty good advice.
So in my second attempt, I did the exam. My score in the writing section did not change. I got again 6.5, but I knew that I was doing better actually. Like even in the exam, I felt very, very comfortable with typing. My score in the listening section decreased to 7. It was 7.5, then it decreased to 7, and I got the score I needed, 7 in reading and speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So after 2 months, I did the exam again, but this time I decided that okay, I'm going to actually study from in your course. Like I did many writing collections. I actually listened to your videos. I don't know why before I listened like too many times to your videos, but I wasn't like actually listening, like to the ideas. So after my second attempt, I actually listened. I took all your advice. I kept things simple, especially in using vocabulary. I did not know before that if I do a mistake in the vocabulary, I could reduce my task response score, for example. Yeah, and in this period also, I knew that I had to uh, uh, I had to get most of my sentences clear out of grammar mistakes. I did not know that also before. So I took your grammar course and worked on my mistakes and redid the exam. This time I got the 7 in the writing section. I got 7 in speaking, 8.5 in reading, but 7.5 in listening. I only needed 0.5 in the listening section. I did the exam after I think 10 days only because I thought that I wasn't lucky maybe in the exam. Like maybe the were in the listening section were a little bit hard or something. So I did the exam after 10 days, and this time I got the same scores in all the sections except the listening. My score dropped to 6.5 this time.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was practicing, like I was listening to the radio, I was watching movies without subtitles and stuff like that. But here I noticed like something is wrong. I didn't know what to do. So I tried to think about what was happening with me in the exam, and I realized that something hard was in the exam for me while I was listening. I was losing focus. The subjects were like harder than the Cambridge books exams. So I decided to go back to paper-based. I thought maybe the paper-based is different. So I did the paper-based exam after like 1 month of preparation. While I was practicing from Cambridge book exams, I was always getting 7.5 minimum in the listening. I was getting 8.5 even. So I did the exam and I got the score I needed in the listening section, which is 8. I got 8.5 in reading, 7 in speaking, but my score dropped in the writing section. I got 6.5. This was because I knew it was because I was writing slowly. I did not have even 1 minute to review.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not even practice a lot in this 1 month preparation between my fourth and fifth attempts. I did not practice writing with a pen. So on the exam I did not have time. When I finished, he said drop the pen. I couldn't review anything. This was in March, and after that in Saudi Arabia, they because of the pandemic, the lockdown happened and they closed all the IELTS offices and everything. They closed everything in here in Saudi Arabia. So I thought instead of redoing the exam, I will try and apply for a remark since I have time and I have nothing to do. Last month I received an email saying that your score, there has been a change to your score, and I received my score changed to 7 finally.
Excellent. Excellent. So let me go back a little bit and see what we can learn from your experience for the people watching this. And tell me if I'm right or wrong in my conclusions. But when you were first doing the test, you said that you only had about 2 hours a week to study. You were working part-time. You were studying other things. And I hear this a lot from students. They say, I'm really busy with other things, but I just went and booked the test anyway, and I hope that I would get a good score. And nearly always when students do that, they don't get the score that they need.
Yeah.
And it's really just to do with time and with focus. And what I always say is, would you prefer to spend a longer time preparing for the test, or like you, failing the test 5 times and feeling that pain and that frustration and losing that money? And often students just, you're like, oh, I'll be lucky this time, or I hope I get a good score. It's like, no, don't do the test until you know 100% that you're going to get the score that you need. That might take a little bit of time in the short term, but in the longer term, it will save you a huge amount of stress and money and whatnot. Would you
Yeah.
agree with that?
I think you should never book the exam unless you are ready and you are getting the score while practicing, and especially with your course. But there is a thing people should know. This happened with me. Like, my journey with the IELTS was for like a year. The first 6 months I was studying and I was working part time. The second 6 months I decided that I graduated. I decided to leave my part time job and only focus on the IELTS. The thing is that I did not study more. I wasn't able to study for like more than an hour a day. I had nothing to do else,
Yeah.
but still I did not study because of
You're a human being, and everybody is like that. It's funny,
yeah.
during the lockdown, at the beginning of the lockdown, everybody was like, I'm going to study, I'm going to learn a new language, I'm going to go on a diet, I'm going to lose a lot of weight, I'm going to get fit. And then, like, at the end of the lockdown, it's like, you did none of those things.
Exactly. At
It's
least we
human nature,
tried.
it's human nature to do that.
Yeah.
I think one of the ways that most people can get around that is simply, if they join a course like yours, which is a structured course, but just try and do a little bit every day over a longer period of time, rather than try and be like, okay, I'm going to study 4 hours a day or 8 hours a day, because people just don't, human beings are not built like that. It's very rare to meet, and most of our students are people like doctors, software engineers, lawyers, people that are used to working hard, but still they struggle to do more than an hour or two a day. I think you have to try and do it over a longer period of time consistently, than trying to cram everything in.
What I did, actually in the period of the last 2 months, is that I decided that, okay, I will take my time. I don't care. I will just study whenever I can. So I was like, okay, studying. Then I was getting this new information, practicing it, and I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm happy. I learned something today. This is enough. Yeah.
Because also, just if you think about how the human brain works, it cannot take in that amount of information. It is not like, it's not like your brain is an empty jug and you're just pouring knowledge into it. The brain can only learn a little bit every day. So if you're spacing it out over a longer period of time, it's going to be much better. And what I would suggest to people is, don't focus on a date or focus on a deadline. Focus on just getting better every day. So for example, with you needed to simplify your vocabulary and learn how to use vocabulary accurately. You needed to work on your weaker areas of grammar and improve your grammar. If you're improving those weak areas every single day. Focus on those things instead of, I need to do it by the 31st of August or
Yeah.
2nd of October or something like that, or 6 weeks. That is because what you will do is, you'll get to a week before your test and then you'll be like, oh, I haven't done anything, and you'll feel guilty and you'll feel stressed and everything. Just try and get a little bit better, 1% better every day, and that builds up over time, I think. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I
And
agree.
I also think, listening to you, I think you did a really good job because you reflected on where you were going wrong, and then you improved based on that reflection. And so, for example, when you didn't get your high enough listening score, what a lot of students do, again, it's human nature to blame everything else and be like, oh, it was the computer-based test, or it was IDP, or it was British Council, or I hate this test. Instead, you might have felt that, but what you also did was calmly think, okay, in that listening test, I wasn't very focused. My focus was a problem. Those topics, I didn't really understand those at the time. And then you reflected on that and took action based on that reflection. And I think everybody who does that we interview in these success stories, they all have that in common, where they calmly think, okay, why did I not get the score that I needed? What do I need to improve? And then
Yeah.
that really, really helps. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I totally agree. Like I knew that practicing only will not help me. I knew that I have to find my mistakes. I have to find out why I am not doing, why I'm not getting the score that I needed. Like in the reading section, the first score I got was 6.5, and from your videos, you said once that it's better that you focus on the questions that you are making mistakes in. You don't have to always practice the whole exam, the reading exam. And this is what I did. I remember that I opened an Excel sheet and I started registering. I did like 4 exams from Cambridge books, and I wrote, okay, this section 2 mistakes. Then I put what is the reason and how to fix it. And my score then got high to 8.5. And sometimes while practicing, I was getting a 9.
Yeah.
And the same thing in the writing section. Like I did not know what were my mistakes. I thought that, okay, this is 1, 2, 3. But then while I was submitting the writing corrections, I was getting to know that I'm making more mistakes in this grammar and this vocabulary and yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's because for the great thing about reading and listening is you're constantly getting feedback from your incorrect answers. Every time you get an answer incorrect, think about it. Okay, was this spelling, strategy, time, vocabulary? Why did I make this mistake? And then you'll see patterns like, okay, my real weakness is vocabulary, or my real weakness spelling, or something like that. And then attacking that weakness, that's where you see major improvements, like you to an 8.5, 9, and that's difficult for a lot of people to do. So well done for doing that.
Yeah, about the vocabulary, about keeping it simple. It's not easy.
No,
it's not
no,
easy.
no.
You have to fight your mind
Yeah.
inside the exam and say, okay, no, I'm not going to write a complex course. Just keep it simple. This is very hard actually, and it needs to be a lot of training.
And using simple vocabulary does not mean every word should be simple. It means not taking chances with words that you don't know what they mean, or you don't know the spelling, or you don't know the collocation, or something like that. Because if you take chances all the time, you're going to make lots of mistakes. But nearly every student who we do these success stories with, they say to me exactly the same thing. When you first told me that, I didn't believe you, and I find it really because everybody else is saying the opposite, and it's also, I think, natural to believe, okay, if I use more complex vocabulary, I'll get a higher score, you know, and it really isn't the case. You know, it's about you, instead of thinking about high level or complex vocabulary, think about correct vocabulary. What is the correct, a word that correctly conveys the meaning that I'm trying to convey, and that I know is correct. And if you do that, range will look after itself, because you will naturally use a high enough range or wide enough range of vocabulary, but you'll also be very, very accurate. So but you're correct, it's a mindset thing. It is not a skill thing, you know. So. And the other thing that I noticed from what you said was, you were doing some things, but you weren't making it part of the whole system. So an example of that was, you were watching the videos, but you weren't really learning from them, or you were getting writing feedback, but you weren't really taking any action to improve based on that feedback. And I think everybody watching this can learn from that, because you can watch videos, you can watch lessons, you could have the best IELTS teacher in the world. If you don't actually do what they are suggesting you to do, you've wasted your time. Same with feedback. You can get the best feedback from the best teacher in the world. Unless you actually take action on that feedback, you've just wasted your time. See it as a whole system, as learning, practice, feedback, taking action on feedback. And if you do that, you'll see big results. But if you don't do those things, you've kind of wasted your time. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. And once you know your mistakes, you have to practice them. This was the problem that happened with me. That okay, I knew my mistakes, I did not practice. Maybe I was doing the same mistakes in the exam. I couldn't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, with practicing a lot, I fixed the issue.
Yeah, just follow the system, keep it simple. The things that you hear me say again. And luckily you won't have to hear my voice ever again. So
I told you, you repeated this many times, and I listened to you many times, but I did not do it. I don't know, was it like me being arrogant, or I'm not sure, you know.
I think it's human nature. Even some students say that I repeat myself a lot, and also with my team, when I do training for my team all the time, and they say the same thing. They're like, no, you're saying this, and it's my response to that is always, well, why don't you do it? You know, if you've heard it 20 times and you're still not doing it, then, you know, why are you not doing it? And I think that human beings need to hear things, important things, repeated many, many times in different contexts, in different ways, in order to really start doing it. Because again, you could watch every YouTube IELTS video, read every book. That won't make any difference unless you do the things that they're suggesting you to do. So that's great advice as well. So, I mean, what will you now be able to do now that you've finally got 8777?
Now all my papers are ready for the immigration to Canada. I'm just waiting for the stream that I'm applying for to open. Now it's on hold because of the pandemic. Yeah, so hopefully within the next 6 months it will open, and I will submit my file for the migration to Canada.
I went through that process with my wife as well, and it's a relief just to have all the papers in one place and to have every little piece of paper.
Exactly.
So congratulations, and I'm sure things will open up pretty soon. Now
thank you.
If you need any help in the future, feel free to get in contact with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amin. See you later.
See you.
Hey, Chris here again. Hopefully you enjoyed that success story video. That student was part of our IELTS VIP course. And on that course, we show students exactly where they're going wrong and exactly what to do to get the score that they need. And we give them all the help and support that they need in order to get a 7, 8, or even 9 in their IELTS test. Now, we only work with a really, really small number of students. Because of the level of help and feedback and support that we give students, we can only work with a very, very small number of them. But We also have more success stories than any other online or offline course in the world, which has created a huge amount of demand for our course. So we're the only course in the world, I believe, that has a very, very, very long waiting list. If you want to join that waiting list, all you have to do is just click here and you'll be able to add your name, add your email address, and then when one of our students becomes successful and leaves the course, the next position can be for you. Hopefully see you in there. Bye-bye.